This is the Farm Monitor. For over 50 years, your source for agribusiness news and features from around the Southeast and across the country, focusing on one of the nation's top industries, agriculture. The Farm Monitor is produced by one of the largest general farm organizations, the Georgia Farm Bureau.
Well, it's true what they say. Distance makes the heart grow fonder. Last week, Jennifer here was on assignment, left me all alone, and we missed her. Glad to have you back.
Of course you did. Glad to be back. And once again, we've got a packed show to dive into, so let's get started. Coming up, want to know what goes into producing over 1 million tons of peanuts every year? Join us as we explore the fascinating journey from field to factory on the Georgia Peanut Tour. With fall now upon us, cooler temperatures and beautiful leaves are here, along with Ellijay apples. We'll visit one orchard to see how they're gearing up for the busy weeks ahead and the influx of tourists. And how about this? Ray and Tracey marking 1 year of culinary adventures together. And what better way to celebrate than with some pepper-packed recipes? From roasted red pepper hummus to savory stuffed peppers, we've got all the flavor and none of the fuss. These stories and so much more right now on the Farm Monitor.
For the record, I did miss you, by the way. All of us missed you. Well, every year, farmers, researchers, and industry leaders come together for the Georgia Peanut Tour. It gives those in attendance first-hand looks at the hard work needed to get the crop out of the field and onto the shelves. Damon Jones was there and highlights some often overlooked aspects of the process.
More than 1.5 million tons. That's how many peanuts are grown and harvested here in Georgia each and every year. So it should come as no surprise that the annual Georgia Peanut Tour attracts guests from all over the world. This 3-day tour takes them on the journey from planning to processing and everything in between. And one of their first stops was at a seed development company where it all begins.
Well, out here we take breeder material from UGA breeders. We increase that. They give us about 140 pounds of seed from their breeding programs. We take that and we increase it, and we increase it again until it's available for public to buy. We're kind of the bridge between the public breeders and the commercial buyers.
And the number one goal for this kind of operation is to maintain the integrity of the seed even while mass produced.
Seed production is different than food production. The way we handle our seed, the way that it's treated for purity and quality to ensure that the variety remains pure, it is our number one goal, that the genetics remain just as pure as the time we get it from the breeder.
Once in the ground, getting the crop all the way to harvest is quite an undertaking. Thankfully, there are companies like Greenpoint Ag that help the growers keep their peanuts healthy and strong.
Yeah, we're a full-service ag retailer here in Cordell, Georgia. We sell everything a farmer needs, from crop nutrients to precision ag services, agronomy services, all insecticides, herbicides, and fungicides that are needed to protect the crop through the growing season. It's important to support farmers. We give them all the things they need to protect their crop, keep the pests out of it, keep all the diseases out of their crop so they can make a good harvest and sustain a profitable operation.
While here, attendees got to hear about some of the latest treatment options as well as all the dedication it takes to keep Georgia's peanut industry running smoothly.
I hope they enjoy seeing what we do. I love my job here, and I hope everybody takes away that we're devoted to the farmers of Georgia and supporting them and giving them everything they need, and we're very versatile. We'll go anywhere in the state needed to support the growers, and I just hope they realize how important agriculture is for the state of Georgia and for the economy in Georgia. It's not just farmers, it's the entire area that we live in here in Georgia.
Even though there are many cogs in the machine when it comes to peanut production here in the state, it's important to note how they are all pulling in the same direction.
Yeah, the message I'd like to get across is that we're all here to support the farmer. We're all here to support the industry. There's a lot that goes into it, a lot of hard work, and we're all committed to the farmer of the area, and we all love agriculture. That's why we're in this industry.
Reporting from Sumter County, I'm Damon Jones for the Farm Monitor.
Mark your calendars. The 35th annual Georgia National Fair kicks things off Thursday, October 3rd. Among the many events will be carnival rides and games, a petting zoo, and a concert series featuring award-winning artists. It's a great opportunity for the tens of thousands of visitors to not only have a great time, but also learn about all the good work farmers are doing around the state.
The reason why this entire facility exists is to host a state fair that teaches people about Georgia's #1 economic driver, which is agriculture. So we try to work in the agricultural education along with a lot of fun. Georgia Farm Bureau has been an incredible partner for years and years and years to help us promote agriculture, youth livestock, educational programs throughout the fair.
Of course, fall brings cool weather and colorful leaves, along with thousands of tourists who flock to North Georgia to see the sights and taste some of the sweetest apples around. Our John Holcomb visited one popular attraction that has a long history with the apple orchards in Gilmer County.
If you take a stroll through the North Georgia mountains this time of year, there are a few things you're guaranteed to see. Beautiful mountains and apple orchards just like this one, B.J. Reese Orchards in Ellijay, who are busy harvesting deliciously ripe apples just like these. As you can see, the trees produced a fantastic crop, which according to owner John Reese, is one of the best crops they've ever had.
We had a real good spring. The apples got pollinated good. We put bees in the orchard in the spring to help pollinate the fruit. And a lot of times if it's rainy or the way it's cloudy, that your apple trees don't get pollinated good, and that can hurt your crop too. So we got a good pollination this year, and it's one of the best crops that we've had. And we had a little frost damage on some varieties, but overall it's one of the best crops we've had.
However, growing one of the best crops they've ever had wasn't an easy process, as growing apples is a year-round job, as they constantly have something to do in their orchards.
Well, in November, when you pick your last apple, you usually go through about November, first week or two of November, and pick the rest of the apples that haven't been picked. A lot of apples don't come in till 1st November or last October. And as soon as we pick those, we start going in and pruning the trees. So end of November, really December, January, February, and March, we're pruning the trees. And we push up old trees, and we get ready to plant new trees in the spring.
Aside from just growing and selling the apples like a typical farming operation, they also have a huge focus on agritourism, inviting the public to come pick apples, play games, and see the many other on-farm attractions.
We start our U-Pick and our Family Fun on the Farm the last weekend in August and through September and October. And depending on the crop and the weather, sometimes we'll take the apple picking on into the first week or two of November. But we have a petting farm, we have cow milking, we have pony rides, we have an apple cannon where kids can shoot apples at a target, and we have a wagon ride. On the wagon ride, we have some longhorns where you can ride by and see the longhorn cattle. And we have a scavenger hunt, it's like a corn maze, and we have pig races on the weekends.
Of course, another huge part of their operation is their storefront, where people can come get freshly made value-added products that are all made from the apples they grow on their farm, like jams, jellies, and of course, fresh apple pies.
We make our own cider, and all the stuff that we grow, like our jams and jellies and relishes and chow chow, is made out of our stuff that we grow. And we make our own apple pies. We use our apples in anything that we sell in here. We try to use our apples to make it. Reporting
in Ellijay for the Farm Monitor, I'm John Holcomb.
Do not go anywhere. After the break, we're spicing things up with not one, but two mouth-watering pepper recipes. Another Meals from the Field when the Farm Monitor continues.
Hey y'all, I'm Tom McCall, Georgia Farm Bureau President. Coming up in just the next few weeks is an event that we all in the agriculture world look forward to. It's the Sunbelt Ag Expo in Moultrie. You know, Sunbelt is known as North America's premier farm show. It's an annual event that showcases the latest and greatest farming technologies and equipment producers can take back to their operations to enhance their farm sustainability. The Sunbelt Expo has something for everyone. Whether you farming 2,000 acres or 20, I guarantee you there's something for you. I sincerely hope that you will consider visiting the Expo this year. And while you're there, stop by the Georgia Farm Bureau Georgia Agriculture Building next to the water tower. This event is October the 15th through the 17th. And for more information, look up sunbeltexpo.com.
So happy anniversary to Tracey and I. This month we celebrate 1 year of joining forces, and we are not celebrating with cake or anything like that. No, we're celebrating with peppers.
That's right.
It's a celebration,
That's
okay?
right.
But no, peppers are our theme this month. Good to see you again,
Good
Tracey.
to see you.
And we are doing 2 recipes that I really, really kind of like a lot. One of which is being stuffed peppers. I don't want to give it away.
Yeah. So we're going to start out with a roasted red pepper hummus. Hummus is an excellent appetizer, snack, and I love the red pepper version of it. So
Let's get peppering.
let's get peppering. So I started with roasting peppers myself. You can buy roasted peppers, but they're typically jarred in oil, so it's really simple to make your own. I took 2 red peppers and I took off the core, or took off the top, took out the core, and I put it on a baking tray and put it in the oven and broiled for about 10 minutes when it chars. Once it comes out, you're gonna wanna put it in a bowl with some saran wrap. That'll create some steam so that I can get the skin off.
Okay.
So that's gonna cool, and we're gonna start making the hummus, and once that's cool, we can take the skin off and add that to it. So we're gonna start in our food processor with a 1/4 cup of lemon juice, and then a 1/4 cup of tahini. We might need the, So tahini is what's gonna make it hummus. So all I start with is my tahini and my lemon juice. And I'm gonna put the lid on and just give it a quick mix.
So once it's all mixed, then it's 2 tablespoons of
2
olive oil?
tablespoons of olive oil. And we'll go ahead and put in 1 garlic clove that is minced. And then that's a 1/2 teaspoon of ground cumin. And a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And then we're gonna mix it again. Again, trying to get that liquid going so when I put the solids in, it doesn't just stick and not move around.
Pulse?
No, low. So now that I have that in, I'm gonna start with, this is a 15-ounce can of chickpeas or garbanzo beans. I'm just gonna put in 1/2. And you can estimate that, it doesn't need to be perfect. Now we're gonna put in the other 1/2. Scrape down the sides a little bit.
And if you don't have a food processor or blender, you could use
A
as well?
blender, as long as it's something where it reaches the blades close to the bottom so that it does a good job mixing. Okay?
Blend it till it's smooth?
Smoothish, yep, because we still have more blending. So this is my 2 peppers that I roasted and took the skin off, and then I just roughly chopped it. I saved a couple pieces out that I'm gonna chop as a decoration or a garnish once the hummus is done. So you can see it's really kind of thick. And so if I want to make it a little bit thinner, I have, this is aquafaba, which is the juice from the canned chickpeas.
God bless you.
So I can add either water or the aquafaba. I like adding the aquafaba because then it'll give a little bit more flavor, but I can do 2 to 3 tablespoons. So I'm just gonna start with 1 and see what it does, consistency-wise. So there we go.
That's it.
Then I'll pour that in a bowl and put some chopped roasted red peppers on top, and we are good to go with our hummus.
Moving on to the next recipe, stuffed peppers.
Yes, stuffed peppers. So this is a little bit different than your traditional stuffed pepper recipe. It doesn't have the tomato sauce on it, but it is going to be delicious. So I started out with a tablespoon of olive oil that I put in a pan, and then I sauteed, that's a half a pound of ground beef and a half a pound of sweet Italian sausage.
Okay.
So you can do a pound of any ground product. You could do a half pound of turkey, all ground beef, I like a mixture of the two. So I cooked that and then I drained the oil. So again, half a pound, a little bit of pork and a little bit of beef. After that, not yet. After that, I put 2 tablespoons of oil in a skillet, and I sauteed 2 red onions that I had chopped up for 3 to 4 minutes. I added 3 garlic cloves that I minced, cooked that for another minute. And these are 4 Roma tomatoes. They're your paste tomatoes. They're not as watery as slicing tomatoes. They have a little bit more meat in them. And I just heated it through. So I'm going to, pour that in. So I'm cooking all of that until it's nice and softened. The garlic and the tomatoes are a little bit more delicate, which is why I had the onions in first. Now I can add a teaspoon of Italian seasoning and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. That is 1 cup of cooked brown rice. You can use white rice. Brown rice has more fiber in it. So I chose to do brown rice in its place, in place of, white rice. And then I have 1 cup of shredded mozzarella cheese. So we do have kind of an Italian theme with the Italian seasoning.
Nice.
And the tomatoes and the mozzarella cheese. So I'm just gonna simply mix all that up. Once it's mixed up, I have a lovely display of orange, red, and yellow peppers that I cut the top off. I took out the seeds and I cut the membrane off. So once I have this fully mixed, I'm going to stuff each of my peppers. There's a little bit of water in the bottom of the pan so that it'll create steam when I have them stuffed. A little bit of water in the bottom. I'm going to put another cup of cheese sprinkled on the top. And then I'm going to cover it with aluminum foil so that it creates that steam. I'm going to cook it at 350 for 30 minutes. And then I'm going to uncover it so I can brown the cheese and cook it another 15 to 20 minutes.
And there's the finished product.
And this is what you get when it's done.
Nice.
So, and I cooked up extra rice because I can use that as a side. I can cut that apart and put it on a bed of rice, and it's a really good meal.
Stuffed peppers. Just
super simple.
one of 2 recipes we did today. And of course, you can find these recipes by logging on to farm-monitor.com, going up to the recipe section. And I think this might be the first stuffed peppers on there, as a matter of fact. So yeah, so now
they're really good.
They are very, very good. They smell good, so I'm looking forward to trying them. But Tracey, as always, thank you for all you do. Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
We'll celebrate with some peppers.
Yeah.
Happy anniversary to you. Anybody out there celebrating an anniversary? And thanks for watching, and we will see you next month.
So are those oak trees on your property looking a bit worse for wear this season? Not to worry, find out what it is and why Extension Specialist Paul Pugliese says it's not as bad as it looks.
Hey y'all, I'm Tom McCall, President of Georgia Farm Bureau. As we all know, fall is just around the corner, and with that comes all kind of events and festivals, and especially one that we all look forward to is the Georgia National Fair in Perry. The fair begins on October the 3rd and runs through the 13th. It has something for everyone, rides, games, shows, and don't ever forget the great fair foods. Also remember the fair gives everybody a chance to connect with Georgia's #1 industry, agriculture. Be sure to visit the Georgia Grown Building, the Baby Barn, and all the great ag exhibits in the booth. Especially stop by the Georgia Farm Bureau booth and visit the #1 ag organization in Georgia. Also, make sure to take a walk through the livestock barns to see some of the prettiest cattle, sheep, goats, and hogs in Georgia. Visit with our young livestock exhibitors and their families. I want to personally invite you to join us on Saturday, October the 5th for Georgia Farm Bureau Day at the fair and help us celebrate all things ag. For more information, go to georgianationalfair.com. Jane and I look forward to seeing you at this event, and we all are going to have fun celebrating agriculture.
I am so excited about this year's convention that we're going to have in San Antonio, Texas. And I invite all of you to come out and join us because we're going to be celebrating the County Farm Bureau leadership and the County Farm Bureau president. We're going to celebrate where you've taken the challenges in your counties and made them opportunities for your County Farm Bureau and agriculture there. We are going to be there to listen to experts, and we're going to be there to have a good time and good fellowship. If you've never been, you need to come, because I promise you, you will enjoy it. You know, county farm bureaus are so important. There's 2,800 county farm bureaus all across this country. They're the ones that have the strength and the power at their fingertips to be able to actually reach out and touch every one of our grassroots leaders to develop our policy, to be part of a community. So I invite you to come out. Let's come out and do what farmers and ranchers do all the time, and our county leaders. We step up and drive forward, and that's going to be the theme of the 2025 convention in San Antonio, Texas.
Hi, I'm Paul Pugliese with the University of Georgia Cooperative Extension. Today we're looking at an old oak tree. And we get a lot of calls about oak trees that have various problems. But today we're looking at a leaf problem on oak trees that we're seeing this year in particular. And if you look really close at the leaves, you'll see the leaves are getting lots of spots on them. The spots may start out really small in the springtime. Sometimes they'll get sort of a yellowish discoloration around the spots. And then as the spots get a little bit bigger, as the season progresses, they'll get sort of these blister-like pustules on the back sides of the leaves that kind of swell up, where the cells are actually multiplying very rapidly in a response to a fungal disease. And we actually call this disease oak leaf blister. This is one of the more common diseases that we see on oak trees in Georgia. And it affects pretty much any oak tree species. Some oaks are maybe a little more susceptible than others. In this case, we're looking at a water oak, which is one of the more common oak species, especially in North Georgia here. And it is very susceptible to this particular disease. Now, this disease is something that it'll come and go. Some years are going to be worse than others, kind of depending on the weather. When we have a lot of cool, wet weather in the springtime, we tend to see more of this type of disease infection occurring, and it tends to spread more rapidly. And it can get very dramatic to the point where, you know, a really wet, rainy spring, almost every single leaf on that tree will be infected. In fact, I can hardly find any leaf on this tree that is not infected with oak leaf blister right now. And as the season progresses, it gets even more dramatic. These blisters continue to swell up, they start to deform the leaves, and it looks really bad. So what's interesting is this disease is, because it's not really harmful to the tree, it just looks bad. It's not something that we recommend spraying for or treating for. And from a practical standpoint, it's really not easy to spray a large tree anyway. You'd have to hire an arborist, and by the time you notice the symptoms of the disease, it's too late to spray anyway. The spores of this disease are actually wind-blown in the early spring, and they are dispersed, and actually they'll carry over on the buds in the wintertime. And so the disease is already present before the leaves even come out in the springtime. And so if you were going to avoid this disease, you would have to spray right at bud break and during that leaf expansion in early spring to avoid this disease problem. So again, by the time you notice it, it's kind of too little too late to do anything about it anyway. The only time we might think about spraying a tree is if it were a young tree, a really small tree that you just planted for the first couple of years. Maybe you're trying to keep some of the stress off of that tree from any diseases. You could use a fungicide. You would have to, again, spray that right at bud break and during that early leaf expansion every 7 to 10 days in the springtime. But otherwise, this is a disease that we generally don't worry about on oak trees. So if you have any more questions about your trees or diseases and insects that might affect trees and shrubs in your landscape, reach out to your local county extension office by calling 1-800-ASK-UGA-1 and go to our website at ugaextension.com and continue to follow us on the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Paul, thanks so much, and thank you for checking out the show.
From our family to yours, take care, stay safe, and we'll see you soon right here for another Farm Monitor. Have a great week.